Okay, right. Anone, right. Okay, am I audible? Rosiru, am I audible?
Yes, sir.
All right. Okay. Okay. So let's start. Right. Now we are discussing the first topic under accounting, right? Advanced level accounting, right? First topic under advanced level accounting. So basically, it's about the introduction to accounting, right? Under that, we learned that accounting is basically focusing on communication of information, right? What accounting does is they communicate, or in other words, they provide financial information. In accounting, what we do is we provide financial information, right? Financial information. And we are providing this set of information to stakeholders. We are providing this information to stakeholders for them to make economic decisions, for them to make economic decisions, right? Okay, so this is basically what we do in accounting. So accounting is basically communication process, right? It's a method of communicating. So what do we communicate? We communicate financial information. So financial information is communicated in terms of financial statements. What we provide is 5 set of financial statements. So these financial statements include profit or loss. This includes statement of financial position. This includes statement of changes in equity. This includes statement of cash flows and notes. So these are what we call the financial information, right? Now in profit or loss statement, what do we provide is about the income and expenses of a business entity for a given financial year. What are the income generated by that particular entity, right? So that entity, it can be a person, it can be a business entity, it can be a company, it can be a sole proprietorship, it can be a partnership, it can be a government, right? It can be anyone who is doing an economic activities, right? Economic activities, buying and selling, the transactions, rendering of services, right? So when it comes to a business entity for a given financial year, it can be from 1st of January to 31st of December or 1st of April to 31st of March. For a given financial year, right, your financial performance, how you have performed during the past financial year, what were your income, what were your expenses, and what is your net profit, right? So in a particular business entity, right, accounting entity, it can be a person, it can be a business enterprise or government, whoever is doing an economic activity, right? For a financial year, right, it can be 1st Jan to 31st December or 1st of April to 31st of March, right? Typically for financial year, right? So financial year, you are providing the financial statements. These financial statements include profit or loss, right? Profit or loss provides you what were the income during the past financial year, what were the expenses during the past financial year, and what is the net profit you have generated. At the same time, you are providing the statement of financial position. Statement of financial position provides you 3 basic details. Now, these are assets, equity, and liabilities as at the reporting date. As at the financial year ending date, it can be 31st of December or 31st of March. As at a particular date, on that financial reporting date, what were your total assets? In other words, what were your total resources? In other words, what were your total investments? What were your total assets, total investments? And how you have financed them? What were your total assets? What were your total resources, or what were your total investments? And how have you financed them? How much been provided by the owners? We call equity. How much provided by the owners? And how much from the external parties in terms of loans and credits, right? So how much you have obtained from the owners, equity, how much you have obtained from the external parties, the bankers and other people, we call them the liabilities, right? And of that finance, what were the assets you have acquired? So that detail is given in the statement of financial position. Statement of changes in equity, right? The name it refers, it shows the change in the equity, change in the equity. That means from opening equity balance to closing equity balance, what are the changes? What are the transactions with the owners? In other words, this change is the transactions with the owners, transactions with the owners, right? So you are providing what are the transactions with the owners during the past financial year, right? During the past financial year, what are the transactions? Whether there was a capital infusion, whether the owners have drawn money, whether we have done any distribution to them, how much of profit we have generated, like that. What has happened during the year with the owners you are presenting. That is being provided in the statement of changes in equity. And you are providing the statement of cash flows. Now, any business, you got cash inflows, you got cash outflows. So during the past financial year, what are the cash inflows, what are the cash outflows, we need to know, right? So that piece of information is given through the statement of cash flows. And any important information with regard to a business, financial information, which is not provided in P&L, SFP, SOCO, SCF, is provided through the notes, other important information, right? So in accounting, what we do is we provide financial information, right? We provide financial information, and these are what do we provide? Your financial performance, your financial position, what has been happened with the cash flows, what are the transactions with the owners, and any other important information, right? So one of the duties, one of the objectives of accounting is to provide this financial information, right? To whom do we provide this financial information? So those set of people is what we call the stakeholders. We call them the stakeholders, right? Now, stakeholders are the people who have an interest over that accounting entity, right? Who have an interest. Now, why somebody is having an interest? Because they have provided some resources, right? Now, for an example, we know about the owners because they have invested money in that accounting entity, and the lenders, like the bankers, they have provided money as a loan. The employees, they are providing the labor to that entity. Suppliers, they are providing the raw materials to that business. Customers, they are buying goods and services from that business. Government, they are charging taxes from that business. So there are a set of parties, set of people who are interested about the business, who want to take some decisions about the business, right? Now, those people are what we call the stakeholders. Stakeholders are the people who have an interest over the business. Interest over the business. It can be the owners, lenders, employees, management, suppliers, customers, right? Different parties. Now, these parties, they are willing to take some decisions. They are willing to take some decisions, right? Owners are willing to take the decision on whether to invest or not. Lenders are willing to take the decision on whether to lend or not. Employees are taking the decisions whether to stay or not. Suppliers are willing to take the decision on whether to supply or not. Customers are willing to take the decision on buy or not. Government is willing to take the decision on tax or not. So like that, there are a lot of very important decisions that these people want to take, right? Now, these decisions they are making based on a logic, a very logical decision making. And for that, they need information. And these are economic decisions. These will impact the economies, personal economy, industrial economy, global economy, right? The country's economy, those are going to get impacted, and it involves money and resources, money and other resources. Okay. So that when you are trying to take a logical decision, you need to have financial information. Now that financial information is provided through these financial statements. Now this is basically what we learn under accounting, right? Under accounting, we are providing financial information to the stakeholders for them to make economic decisions. Okay, right. Shall we write down this one here, right? There's a topic called objective of accounting, right? There's a topic called objective of accounting. It's the same thing. We will write down the answer under objective of accounting, right? Okay, objective of accounting. Under that, our objective of accounting is to provide financial information to the stakeholders for them to make economic decisions. Okay, please write that down. All right. Under the objective of accounting, write this down. Objective of accounting කියන තැන මේක ලියා ගන්න. Right. මට පොඩි sign එකක් දෙන්න, පොඩි reaction එකක් හරි chat එකට දාන්න ලියා ගත්තා නම්. Okay. Right. හරිද ළමයි, ලියා ගත්තද? Yes, good. Right. Okay. Right. මේක අපි කතා කරලා තියෙන දේවල් ටිකක් අපි තව ටිකක් ඉස්සරහට කතා කරගෙන යමු. We'll recap some of the things we have discussed, right? Accounting entity, I have explained what is an accounting entity, right? It can be a business, an institute, an individual, a state or a government which conducts economic activities, right? The key word is who is conducting an economic activity. Right, so accounting entity can be anything, right? It can be a person, it can be a business, it can be a state or a government. If you are involved in economic activities, the transactions and the events, if you are involved in transactions and the events, we say you are an accounting entity Okay, right? So no need to memorize anything, just know, right? No, there's an accounting entity if you are involved in economic activities, right? Okay. So let's move on to the stakeholders of a business. This even we have discussed, right? Stakeholders of a business we have discussed, right? Stakeholders are the parties who are interested about the business, It can be the owners, it can be the employees, right? And it can be the management, it can be the customers, it can be the government, it can be the suppliers, right? And it can be the lenders. Okay, right. Now out of these parties, you have to tell me who are the internal parties. මට මේ කට්ටියකින් internal parties ටික කියන්නේ business එකට connect වෙලා ඉන්න business එකේ ඇතුලේ කට්ටිය කවුද කියන්නේ? Right. මට කියන්න බලන්න ළමයි, what do you think about the owners? Internal or external? Tell me. Owners, you all can unmute and answer. Internal or external owners? What do you think? Business එක ඇතුලේ කට්ටියද පිට අයද? Yes. Internal or external? Yes. Internal, right? Owners, internal. Employees, internal. Because they are within the business, right? They are attached to the business, right? And management, internal. But customers are external. Government is external. Suppliers are external. Lenders are external, right? You all can see the owners, the employees, the management, these are internal stakeholders. But the rest of the stakeholders are external to the business. They are not within the business, they are outsiders, but still they are connected to the business. Still they have an interest, even though they are outsiders, right? Now we'll see for each of these stakeholder, what is the type of information they need and what are the type of decisions they take. Okay, right? You'll have to fill this table, right? You'll have to fill this table. We'll take one by one, starting with owners. Owners or the investors. Owners, or in other words, these are the investors, right? So what are the decisions typically they take? You'll have to write while I'm doing this one. So investors have to take decisions about whether to, about future investments, right? Whether to invest or not, they have to take decision. Whether to put some additional capital. Are we going to put some additional capital or not? They have to take some decisions. Whether to, divest or withhold the investment. Divest or withhold the investment. Divest කියලා කියන්නේ withdraw කරනවා කියන එක. දාපු සල්ලි ආපහු ගන්නවද? Are we going to withdraw the investment or are we going to keep the investment? Are we going to make future investments? Are we going to take it out, the investment we made, or we are going to just keep it as it is? Right? The owners need to take some decisions. සල්ලි දානවද? දාපු සල්ලි ටික ගන්නවද? ඔන්න ඔය තියෙන්න අරිනවද? And they have to take decisions about the dividends. In other words, the drawings maybe. නේ? ඒගොල්ලෝ කොච්චරක් draw කරනවද සල්ලි? නැත්නම් dividends විදියට ගන්නවද? Profit sharing එක කොච්චරද? So they have to take some decisions. How much they are going to withdraw as profit? How much they are going to take that as a dividend? They have to take some decisions, right? Owners. And what is the type of information they may need, right? The owners, they may need information about the profitability of the business, right? So they need information about the profitability of the business, right? And they may need information about the return on investment. Return on investment for their investment. What is the return, right? They need to know. And they may need to know the earnings per share. Earnings, how much? And they need to know the dividends related information. Whether the business is going to continue, we call it going concern. They need to take information about whether the business is going to continue. Whether the business is going to continue, the going concern, right? So piece of information they need. If you are an owner of the business, you have to take a decision whether you are going to invest further. Right? Are we going to invest more and more? Or are we going to withdraw the investment? What is the return I am getting? You have to take some decisions. And for that, we are going to look at the profitability of the business, whether the business is a lucrative business for me. Are we going to, whether the business is going to sustain, whether the business is going to survive, whether the business is going to continue. We say going concern, whether the business is going to continue. You have to look at how much of earnings made by the business, what is the dividends given by the business. So like that, you are going to look at certain information, right, before you take a decision. Okay, right. මම කියනවාත් එක්කම ළමයි මේවා ඔයගොල්ලෝ ලියා ගන්න. ඔයගොල්ලෝ නෝට් කරගන්න. මාත් එක්කම ලියා ගන්න. හරි? Right. The management. right? Management have to take decisions about the assets, right? Okay, what are the assets we are going to purchase, right? But are we going to purchase a building? Are we going to purchase a machine, right? They need to take some decisions, right? And they have to take decisions about the cost, or in other words, the expenses, right? Management need to take decisions about, are we going to cut down our expenses, how we are going to manage our expenses, right? Management need to take decisions about the cash flows. Okay, what are we going to do with the cash excess? If we have a cash deficit, what we are going to do? So management need to take a decision. තියෙන වැඩිපුර සල්ලි වලට මොකද කරන්නේ? සල්ලි අඩුයි නම් මොකද කරන්නේ? Right? Accordingly, they have to take the investment decisions. They have to take the financing decisions. Right? They have to take, and they have to think about the pricing. ඒගොල්ලන්ට product pricing ගැන හිතන්න වෙනවා. The management needs to take decisions about the assets of the business, right? What are the assets that they are going to acquire? What are the assets they are going to dispose? ගන්නේ මොනවද වත්කම්, දෙන්නේ මොනවද වත්කම්, නේද? Right? How to cut down the cost? They have to take the decisions. Okay? And they need a lot of information, right? They need a lot of information. Now they need to know about the information about the assets of the business. They need to know about the cost of the business. They need to know about the let's say about the inventory. They may need to know information about the inventory. They need to know information about the profitability. They need to know information about the cash flows. They need to know about the liquidity. Right? So like a lot of information. As the management, you need to look at a lot of information. Right? So management are the people who manage the business, no? The people who take the internal decisions, the strategic decisions, financial decisions, investment decisions, operational decisions, right? In a business, you have to take decisions, no? Whom to be hired, what are the items you are going to produce, what is the cost of an item. So that part is done by the management. And a lot of other decisions being taken by the management, and they require a lot of information, right? The liquidity means the availability of cash. What are your cash inflows and outflows? What is your the composition of the assets? කොහොමද assets composition එක තියෙන්නේ? Lot of information you are going to need. Okay? Right. හරි. මෙවෙන් කීපයක් හරි ලියා ගන්න ළමයි. right. මට ලියාගෙන ඉවර වෙලා okay කරන්න. Whether you have written it, write it down. ලියාගත්තද කියලා? Yes? Okay, super. Thank you. Right, මාත් එක්කම ලියාගෙන ළමයි, that will be much easier. Right? Okay. Then look at the employees. Employees need to take decisions about whether they are going to stay, and regarding their increments. They have to take decisions about their promotions, right? And they have to take decisions about their retirement. So a lot of decisions, even the employees, they have to take, right? About their salaries, they have to take the decisions, right? And what piece of information they may need? They may need information about the salary cost. They may need information about the profitability of the business for them to ask profit bonuses, right? And the going concern, whether the business is going to continue, අපිට මේක තව අවුරුදු ගානක් වැඩ කරන්න පුළුවන් වේද? business එක තව ටිකක් දුවයිද? Right? And what is the cost of the salaries they are incurring, and how much we are getting? Right? And what is the profit of the business? We have also contributed to that profit. Aren't we getting a cut? අපිට profit taking කෑල්ලක් හම්බෙන්නේ නැති වේද? You can ask for the bonuses, right? So employees are looking at this information, right? Customers, they are looking at, their buying decision, right? customers la බලාගෙන ඉන්නවා මේ purchase decision එක ගන්න. Purchase, whether to purchase or not, whether to buy or not, right? And they may be looking at after sales services. Okay, what are the after sales service we are getting, right? Like that, the purchase related decisions, they are going to look at what volume I'm going to purchase, what is the discount am I entitled for. Like that, they want to take certain decisions, and for that they are looking at, you know, maybe the inventory. For me to buy items, whether this company has sufficient inventory. Like I'm going to buy a bulk, do they have sufficient inventory? And whether the business is going to continue, can I buy these items for the next 10 years? ඊළඟ අවුරුදු 10ටම මේව මට ගන්න පුළුවන් වේද? බිස්නස් එක අවුරුදු 10ක් තියෙයිද? Right? Okay, so do they have enough cash? ඒගොල්ලෝගේ සල්ලි කොහොමද තත්ත්වය? Right? So like that, you are going to look at the nature of the business. You are going to look at, okay, they have enough stocks. How about their pricing and stuff? Right? So you are going to look at the pricing. So like that, a lot of information, even you as a customer, you are going to look at. You are going to look at as a customer, right? You are going to look at certain bit of information, right? Please take down some of the important facts. වැදගත් දේවල් කීපයක් ලියා ගන්න. Okay, if you have taken it down, give me an indication. Right, super. Okay, right. කීපයක් ලියන්න කොහොම ලියා ගන්න අවශ්‍යත් නැහැ, මේක එක්සෑම් එකේ හිම අහනම දෙයක්ුත් නෙවෙයි, but you need to know. දැනගෙන ඉන්න එක තමයි වැදගත් වෙන්නේ. හරිද? right. අපි යමු එහෙනම් ඊළඟ stakeholder ට. හරි? suppliers. Now suppliers, what are the type of decisions you are going to take? So you are going to look at the volume of items that you are going to supply. You are going to take decisions about the pricing. You are going to take decisions about the pricing, whether to continue the supply or not, whether you are going to continue the supply, and will you be able to recover the amount, recover the credit given, recover the credit amount. So you are going to look at recover the credit amount. Will you be able to recover the credit amount given? And the type of information you'll be looking at, how much of trade payable is there, right? What is your operation cycle? How long you are going to take for the settlement and all, right? Your operational cycle and your liquidity. Do you have enough cash? Whether the business has enough cash, whether the business is going to continue, like that. Even the suppliers are looking at set of information. How much of volume that you are going to supply in the future? What will be the price for that? And whether will I be able to continue the supply? For you to do that, you have to look at how much of trade payable available, how much of cash available, whether the business is continuing, right? And what is the liquidity position of the business? Like that, you are looking at set of information. Okay, right. Lenders are the people or are the entities that provide loans. Lenders කියලා කියන්නේ ණය දෙන අය. So lenders are willing to take decisions on providing loans. ණය දෙන එක ගැන ඒගොල්ලෝ තීරණය ගන්නවා. And they have to take decisions about recovering existing loans. දැනටම දීපු ණය කොහොමද ගන්නෙ? And they have to take decisions about the interest rate. වාර දෙන interest rate එක කොයි වගේද? And what is the type of mortgage you are going to get mortgage එක මොනවද ඔයාගන්නේ මොන වගේ වත්කම්ද අප විදියට ගන්න right so bankers need to take decisions on whether to give a loan or not ණයක් දෙනවද නැද්ද how to recover the loan දුන්න ණය ආපහු ගන්නෙ කොහොමද and the interest rate you have to take a decision and what assets to be mortgaged මොන වගේ වත්කම්ද අපි mortgage කරන්නේ අප තියන්නේ so they have to take some decisions and for that they are looking at different set of information they are looking at your asset strength ඔයාලට කොච්චරක් වත්කම් තියනවද කියලා බලනවා your existing liability portfolio your liability portfolio they are looking at your liability portfolio දැනට කොච්චරක් වගකීම් තියනවද මේ business එකට right and your interest payments දැනට interest කොහොමද ගෙවාගෙන යන්නේ right interest payment or interest cover කියලා අපි මේකට කියනවා right how do you pay the interest interest එක ගෙවන විදිය කොයි වගේද and how about the liquidity of the business එකේ liquidity කොයි වගේද like that you are looking at several set of information okay this whether this business has sufficient assets වත්කම් එහෙම තියනවද do they have enough cash flow okay how about their liability portfolio කොයි වගේද liabilities පැත්ත right like that they are looking at certain bit of information okay right okay මට ඒ සෙට් එකත් ඔයාලා ලියාගෙන ඕකේ එකක් දෙන්න okay right super okay guys so finally we are moving towards the government need to take decisions on the tax right and the tax rate they have to take decisions on tax concessions අපි බදු සහන දෙනවද නැද්ද they have to take decisions on subsidies සහන ආධාර ගැන right so you have to take decisions on are we going to tax them or not මෙයාලට බද්දක් ගහනවද නැද්ද okay at what rate what is the tax rate we are going to apply are we going to give some tax concessions tax free period lower tax rates right like that what are the tax concessions බදු සහන මොනවද දෙන්නේ and what are the subsidies we are going to provide මොනවද අපි දෙන්න ආධාර සහන ආධාර මොනවද like that government needs to take decisions and for that they are looking at right they are looking at the profitability whether the business is profitable right what are the tax payables of the business what are the tax receivables of the business රජයට අය කරගන්න තියෙන බදු කොච්චරක් මේ ව්‍යාපාරේ තියෙනවද රජයට රිෆන්ඩ් කරන්න බදු කොච්චරක් තියෙනවද there can be tax refunds tax receivable we say and the tax payables right and what is the profitability of the business can we tax them right so you are looking at set of information right ඔන්න එතකොට අපි stakeholders ලා ගැනත් අපි කතා කරා මේ ටිකත් ලියාගෙන stakeholders ලා අපි කවුද stakeholders ලා internal external business එක ඇතුලේ කට්ටිය එළියේ කට්ටිය ඒගොල්ලන්ට මොන වගේ information දෝනි මොන වගේ තීරණද ගන්නෙ කියන එක අපි කතා කරා. හරි. right. ඒකත් ලියාගෙන මට ඕකේ එකක් දෙන්න. අයෝමල් ඕකේද? right thank you. okay right now with that we are moving towards an very important area right the two branches of accounting now lamaya accounting can be classified accounting can be divided into two main branches right now one of these particular branches what we call the financial accounting Other branch is what we call the management accounting, right? So accounting, let me explain it, right? Accounting can be mainly divided into two. One is financial accounting, okay? The other one is what we call the management accounting. There are two parts. One is financial accounting and other one is management accounting. Okay. Now, basically, what we have discussed so far, and even in your advanced level syllabus, the more prominence, more focus is given to this financial accounting. From the exam point of view, it's like 80% of the exam questions are based on this area, financial accounting. And 20%, around 20% is based on the management accounting. So predominantly, even you are learning majorly on this financial accounting, and whatever the things I have said up to now are applicable for this financial accounting. Okay, now let me explain. Now, financial accounting deals with providing financial information to the stakeholders for them to make economic decisions. Now, guys, if you look at this statement, it's more or less the same statement we have learned, right? So accounting is basically about providing the information to the stakeholders for them to make decisions now. So financial accounting, right? Now I'll put the words which are going to change, right? So here, this financial information, guys, right? Let me put it like this. Financial information which is relevant to a business entity, these are past information. අතීත තොරතුරු තමයි ඔය දෙන්නේ. In financial accounting, what you provide is the past information, right? Past information. And this information you are providing in a method called financial statements, no? Right? So you are providing the past financial information for the past financial year. ගත වුණු අවුරුද්දට, ගත වුණු මාසෙට, you are providing the past financial information. And the tool you are using is the financial statement. ඔබ අතීත තොරතුරු ඉදිරිපත් කිරීම සඳහා භාවිතා කරන උපකරණය තමයි මූල්‍ය වාර්තා. And these financial statements, you have a standard format. You have a standard format. And you are applying accounting standards. And you are applying accounting standards. එතකොට මේ financial statements හදන standard structure එකක් තියෙනවා. ඒ කියන්නේ මේ එක එක්කෙනාට ඕන විදිහට accounts හදන්න බෑ. හරිද? මේ financial statements හදනකොට එකම structure එකකට යන්නේ. එක පිළිවෙලකට තමයි අපි එක හදන්නේ. And you have a guideline. ඔයාට එක හදන්න guideline එකක් තියෙනවා, which is what we call the accounting standards. So accounting standards වලින් දීලා තියෙන guideline එකට, accounting standards වල දීලා තියෙන format එකට you are preparing the financial statements. So under financial accounting, you are providing the past financial information, right? And the financial information is provided in a standard format and referring to the accounting guidelines, which is what we call the accounting standards. Okay, right. And if you look at the stakeholders, your primary focus is on the external stakeholders, right? External stakeholders. Business එක ඇතුලේ නැති අය ගැන තමයි අපි ප්‍රධාන වශයෙන්ම අවධානය යොමු කරන්නේ. Right? The external stakeholder, those who are not really in the business. Right? Why is that? External stakeholders, guys, they don't have much of a power. Then if you are an internal guy, I'm going to refer to the management. ඇතුලෙත් ඔය employees ලායි අයිතිකාරයෝ ඔක්කොටම වඩා වැඩිපුරම power එකක් තියෙන ළමයි management එකට. හරිද? ඔය අයිතිකාරයන්ට ඇයි එහෙම වෙන්නේ කියන එක අපි ඉස්සරහට ඉගෙන ගන්නවා. sole proprietorship එක partnership එකක් නම් owner and the management දෙකම එකයිනේ. but in a company owners are separate, management is separate. අයිතිකාරයෝ වෙනම පැත්තකින් ඉන්න management එක තමයි ගේම ගහන්නේ. හරිද? so mostly the important internal stakeholder is the management. ඒ කියන්නේ board of directors ලා කියලා කියන්නේ decisions කරන කට්ටිය. they are the most powerful guys. Right? Now, if you look at the stakeholders, management has a high power. So they are inside the business and they have the power and they are the ones always dealing with this business. So they can demand whatever the financial information they need. ඒගොල්ලන්ට කැමති තොරතුරක් ඉල්ලන්න පුළුවන්. අර branch එකේ P&L එක දෙන්න, මේ division එකේ profit එක මට කියන්න, අර department එකේ cost details එකක් මට දෙන්න, මෙන්න මේ employees ලගේ cost එක මට දෙන්න. Like that, the management has that power to demand information. But think about the poor external guys, suppliers, customers, government, right? And maybe some other parties like public at large, maybe. External parties, they don't have that much of power, no. ඒගොල්ලන්ට ඇවිල්ලා ඉල්ලන්න බෑනේ අර department එකේ P&L එක දෙන්න, මේ employees ලගේ cost එක දෙන්න. So they don't have that much of a capacity and that much of a power like the management. Management එක වගේ power එකක් බාහිර මේ අල්මැති පාර්ශවයන්ට නැහැ. සැපයුම් කරුවන්ට, පාරිභෝගිකයන්ට ඒගොල්ලන්ට එච්චර power එකක් නැහැ. කළමනාකරුවන් තරම් තොරතුරු ඉල්ලන්න power එකක් නැහැ. So that for these external stakeholders, right, for them to make these important economic decisions, right? So we are providing the past financial information in a standard format. හැමෝටම පොදුවේ පාවිච්චි කරන්න පුළුවන් විදියට පොදු format එකකට පොදු guideline එකකට accounts එක හදලා අපි ඒක එළියට දානවා. එතකොට කොල්ලටයි බල්ලටයි ඔක්කොම පුළුවන්. supplierටත් ගන්න පුළුවන්, customerටත් බලන්න පුළුවන්, government එකටත් refer කරන්න පුළුවන්. So anyone can refer. Now that is covered under financial accounting. So financial accounting is about providing the past financial information in a standard format under a specific guideline. And you are providing mainly for the external stakeholders. අර එළියේ ඉන්න powerless කට්ටියට ඒගොල්ලන්ට ලොකු බලයක් නැහැ. ඒගොල්ලන්ට power එකක් නැහැ. ඒගොල්ලන්ට එහෙම ඉතින් මේ කෝණි අර කෝණි කියලා customize කරලා එහෙම දෙන්න බෑ. tailor made ඒවා ඒගොල්ලන්ට ගන්න බෑ. So that what they need is a common information. කෙනෙක්ට වෙන වෙනම ගන්න තරම් power එකක් නැහැනේ. ඒකන්ට පොදු තොරතුරක් ඉදිරිපත් කරනවා financial accounting. And what is the type of economic decision they are taking? ඒගොල්ලෝ එතෙන්දි ගන්න ආර්ථික තීරණ තමයි about providing resources. It's about providing resources. ඒගොල්ලෝ තීරණ ගන්නේ මේ සම්පත් යෙදවීම සම්බන්ධයෙන්. right? බැංකුව ගන්නවා තීරණයක් ණය දෙනවද නැද්ද? සප්ලයර් ගන්නවා තීරණයක් මේ සප්ලයි කරනවද නැද්ද? right? So like that, it's about provision of resources. සම්පත් යෙදවීම ගැන ඒගොල්ලෝ තීරණ ගන්නවා. right? So this part is what you call the financial accounting. Same accounting definition, right? You are providing the past financial information to the stakeholders for them to make economic decisions. Okay? Right. හරි. ඒක තේරුණාද? හරි clear? ඒක තේරුණාද ළමයි? So now we will look at what is this management accounting. මොකද්ද මේ management accounting කියන්නේ කියලා බලමු අපි. අපි මේ same definition එක මම ගන්නම්. හරිද? ඒක වෙනස් වෙන තැන මම කියන්නම්. Providing මම මේ definition එකම අරගෙන වෙනස් කරනවා. හොඳේ. Providing financial information to stakeholders for them to make economic decisions. मैं एकම definition එක අරගත්තේ. I took the same definition here and I made the changes for financial accounting. I'm taking the same definition to the management accounting and I'm going to make some changes. I'm going to make some changes, right? Now here, when we are looking at the financial information, this includes past information and the forecasted information. ඒ කියන්නේ මේ management accounting වලදී අතීත තොරතුරුම විතරක් නෙවෙයි. You are providing some forecasted information, right? It may or may not have forecasted information. අනාගතය ගැන පුරෝකතනය කරපු තොරතුරුත් අපි ඉදිරිපත් කරනවා. Under management accounting. So under management accounting, you are providing piece of information, and it can be the past information as well as the future forecasted information. And for this guys, right? So these particular reports, the මේකේන reports ගත්තොත් එහෙම, right? It's not the financial statements, right? May not be the financial statements alone, right? There can be management accounts තියෙන්න පුළුවන්. There can be budgets, there can be project evaluations, project appraisals, marginal costing reports, right? So the statements that we are going to prepare, statements that we are going to provide, it's not like the standard financial statements. Here you don't have a standard, no standard. මේවට standard නැහැ. And there's no particular guideline. එහෙම කියලා මේ accounting standard වගේ නිකන් regulate වෙන guideline එකක් නැහැ. හරිද? නැහැ. Financial accounting standards are regulated, guys. ඒවා නිකන් monitor වෙනවා. ඒවා හදන්නේ government එකෙන් power දීපු බලය දීලා තියෙන government එක පනතකින් enact කරලා තියෙන, right, by the Chartered Institute of Sri Lanka. So they are the ones who are preparing the accounting standards, and according to the standards on a specific format you are preparing the financials. That is because you are reporting to the external parties නේ. අර බලයක් නැති කට්ටියට පොදුවේ පාවිච්චි කරන්න දෙන report එකක් නේ. ඒක පොඩක් quality එකටම යන්න එපේ. වරදින්න බෑනේ. එහෙම වුණොත් අවුල් යනවානේ. පවුනේ අසරණ මිනිස්සු එළියේ ඉන්නයි. So that there's a particular process, a format, a guideline is there. But this management accounting, you are providing the past information and the forecasted information in different reports. එක වර්ග report තියෙනවා. budget කියනවා. හරිද? ඊට පස්සේ management account set එක කියනවා. marginal costing statement කියනවා. absorption costing statement කියනවා. Right? Then project appraisal කියනවා. Like that you have different reports. And you are using different formats. Right? එක company එක format එක. ඔයාගේ format එක තව එකක්. Right? It can be different formats and different methods you may be using. And you don't have a specific guideline. මෙන්න මෙහෙම තමයි. budget එකේ ආකෘතිය මෙන්න මෙහෙමම තමයි. ඔයා හදන project appraisal එකේ ආකෘතිය මෙන්න මෙහෙම වෙන්න ඕනේ කියලා එහෙම guideline එකක් නැහැ. You don't have a particular guideline. And the most important thing here, the stakeholder. Right? Most important thing under management accounting is to whom? කාටද මේව අපි දෙන්නේ කියන එක. Right. Let me ask you that question. මම ඒක වගේ අහන්න. නමෙත් තියෙනවා. Management accounting වල stakeholder කවුද? Who is the stakeholder? Management accounting reports දෙන්නේ කාටද? නමේම තියෙනවා. Who is the stakeholder? Very good. The management. Here the stakeholder is, guys, management. I told you, apart from all the stakeholders, management has a superior power. Right? ඒක සේවකයෙක්ටත් නැහැ හැම power එකක්. ඒ වගේ power එකක් සමහරට business එකේ අයිතිකාරයන්ටත් නැති වෙන්න පුළුවන්. But the management who are taking the decisions, the board of directors of that business, they have that superior power. They can demand whatever the information on whatever the customized manner. මේ department එක දෙන්න, මේ division එකේ දෙන්න, මේ employee එකේ දෙන්න, මේ manager එකේ performance දෙන්න, මේ director එකේ performance දෙන්න, අර division එකේ මෙන්න මේ section එකේ report එකක් එවන්න, මේකේ බජට් එක දෙන්න, මේ ඇසෙට් එකට performance appraisal එකක් කරන්න, foreign branch එකක් දානවද නැද්ද බලන්න, ඒකට දෙන්න project appraisal එකක්. Like that, the management, now their duty is to take decisions now, so they need various information, past information, forecasted information, a lot of information. කළමනාකාරීත්වය තීරණ ගන්න එකමනේ කරන්නේ. ඩිරෙක්ටර්ස්ලා වැඩ කරන්නේ නැහැ හොඳේ. දැන් ඩිරෙක්ටර්ස්ලා ගිහිල්ලා ඉවර වෙලා මේ අපි හිතමු කාගිල්ස් එකේ ඩිරෙක්ටර් කෙනෙක් ගිහිල්ලා ඉවර වෙලා කැෂිය එකේ ඉඳලා පඩු විකුණන්න යන්නේ නැහැ. හරිද? ඉෂාර ට්‍රේඩර්ස් එකේ ඩිරෙක්ටර් ගිහිල්ලා වාහන විකුණන්න යන්නේ නැහැ. ඒව කරන වෙන කට්ටිය ඉන්නවා පල්ලෙහා ලෙවල් එකේ. උඩ ඉන්න টොප් ලෙවල් එකේ කට්ටිය කරන්නේ ඩිසිෂන්ස් ගන්න. තීරණ ගන්න. තීරණ ගන්න තොරතුරු ඕනේ. අතීත තොරතුරු ඕනේ, අනාගත තොරතුරු ඕනේ. රයිට්? ඒ වගේම එයාලා ගොඩාක් විවිධ වර්ගයේ තීරණ ගන්නවානේ. මේ අලුතෙන් බිල්ඩින් එක හදනවද නැද්ද? අර කම්පිටිටිව් ඇක්වයර් කරනවද නැද්ද? නේ? මෙන්න මේ එම්ප්ලොයිව හෙඩ් හන්ට් කරනවද නැද්ද? අපේ ප්‍රයිස් එක අඩු කරනවද වැඩි කරනවද? අලුත් ටෙක්නොලොජි එක ගේනවද නැද්ද? A lot of decisions. And they need customized information. ඒගොල්ලෝ එයාලට ඕන විදිහට customize කරපු tailor made කරපු information ඕනේ. ඒ ඔය standard format ඕනේ නැහැ. එයාලට ඕන විදිහට තොරතුරු ටික ඕනේ. Right? So that guys, right? So the management is asking for the past and the forecasted information in different formats in a different way, right? And they are taking decisions such as planning, controlling, right? And the strategic decisions, operational decisions. ඒගොල්ලෝ ගන්නවා ගොඩාක් විවිධ තීරණ. They need to plan it out. They have to think about the strategy. Okay, should I acquire this customer? Should I acquire this competitor? Should I acquire this supplier? Should I acquire this rival? Right? Operational decisions. මේ අලුත් ටෙක්නොලොජි එක ගේනවද නැත්ද? Financial decisions. And the control stuff. Right? So for that they need information. ඒවට තොරතුරු ඕනේ. අන්න ඒවට අපි කියන මොනවද? management accounting. අර ඇතුලේ management එකේ ඉන්න කට්ටියට ඇතුලේ මේ day to day decision ගන්න තොරතුරු ඕනේ ඒව දෙන එක management accounting. එළියේ ඉන්න අයට business එකට සල්ලි දානවද නැත්ද, resources දෙනවද නැද්ද කියන එක තීරණ ගන්න අවශ්‍ය තොරතුරු දෙන එක financial accounting. The people who are inside the business, the powerful people, the management, for them to plan stuff, to control stuff, to take strategic decisions, they need customized, tailor-made inside information. Now that provision of that information is management accounting. And to the parties who are external to the business, who don't have that much of power, for them to take decisions about the deployment of resources, they need information in a very standard format, according to guidelines, a quality piece of information they need. That is being provided by the financial accounting. Okay? Right. Are we clear with the difference between the management accounting and the financial accounting, guys? Management accounting versus financial accounting තේරුණාද? Okay? Are we clear? Right. Super. Right. Okay. Right. So we'll write this down. අපි මේක චුට්ටක් පොඩි note එකක් ලියාගමු. Financial accounting කියන එක යටතේ providing past financial information, providing past financial information to external stakeholders for them to make decisions on providing resources. providing resources. Okay, management accounting, providing past and forecasted information to management for them to make planning, controlling, and other management decisions. Right. Please write it down. මේක ලියා ගන්න ළමයි. Right. මට ලියාගෙන ඕකේ එකක් දෙන්න. Right. රවිඳු ලියාගත්තද? අයෝමාල් ලියාගත්තද? Okay. Right. ලියාගත්තනේ ළමයි. Shall I move on?
Hari sir.
Right. Okay. Okay. So the two types of accounting, we'll do a small comparison. Financial accounting is focused on external reporting, decisions about providing resources. We are using standard format, mostly the it's only the past information. Management accounting is internal reporting. It's about planning and control decisions, and you don't have a standard format, and you're using past and the future information. This is basic comparison between the management accounting and the financial accounting. I hope you have a better idea of what is financial accounting and what is management accounting. Okay, right. And for your advanced level, you have both of this area, financial accounting and the management accounting have a key prominence, and we are prioritizing more on the financial accounting. And that is what we call the duty of an accountant. Suppose we are reporting to the outsiders, and they don't have any power. So we have a duty to be ethical and to provide what is the truth. අපි ඇතුලේ ඉඳන් ඒගොල්ලන්ට තොරතුරු දෙන අයනේ. So we have to tell them the truth. We have to give them quality information. Because based on our information, those innocent outsiders are taking decisions. Okay, right. So with that, we have covered the two aspects of financial accounting and the management accounting. Right, we'll move on to the accounting process. accounting process. Okay, right. හරි. මෙතෙන්ට වෙනකල් ගැටලු ප්‍රශ්න තියෙනවාද? තේරුණාද? මොකද තත්ත්වය? Yes, no? Accounting process. Can we start? Yes? Okay, ළමයි? Right. No problem. Super. Okay. Now, this is something once again we know, right? Accounting process, you all know, right? So something you already know, but we will put them to in a brief way of understanding, right? Okay, right. Let's learn about the accounting process. Accounting process, right? Now, what we need to learn is accounting is not a magic. Financial statements are not generated by magic. Magic එකකින් account set එකක් හැදෙන්නේ නැහැ. අබ්‍රාකඩබ්‍රා කියලා එහෙම එකපාරට account set එකක් generate වෙන්නේ නැහැනේ. Right? So there's a huge process behind. මේක පිටිපස්සේ ලොකු ක්‍රියාවලියක් තියෙනවා. Right? And the entire process includes 3 steps. One is the inputs. ඔයා දන්න ඕනෑම ක්‍රියාවලියක තියෙනවා පළවෙනියම යෙදවුම්, right? Your inputs. And there's a process that you're going to follow, and finally you have a output. Now this is what we call the process, right? So you are putting something, you are inputting, right? There's an input, you put something, and that goes under a process. ඒක පොඩි process එකකට මේට වෙවි හිට මේට වෙවි යනවා, and finally you are producing something. දැන් උදාහරණයක් විදිහට කේක් එකක් හදනකොට අපි පිටි දානවා නේද, සීනි දානවා, බිත්තර දානවා, that is our input. And there's a process now. අපි අර පිටි මේ මොනවාද බිත්තරයි අරගෙන ඉවර වෙලා ඊට පස්සේ උකට අර මොනවා හරි දාලා ඉවර වෙලා අපි ඕක බීට් කරනවාද මොකක්ද දෙයක් කරනවා නේ, ඊට පස්සේ අපි ඒක එක ගානකට ආවට පස්සේ ඊට පස්සේ අපි ඕක බේක් කරනවා, අයිසින් දානවා, අන්තිමට එන මිනිස්සයාට අපි කෙලින්ම කේක් ගෙඩිය දෙනවා. That is our output. Okay, so similarly in accounting. So we know that our output is financial statements, no? Our output is financial statements. And what is our input? හරි, මේ financial statement එක ඇතුලේ මොනවද දෙන්නේ? Our input is the transactions and events. Transaction and events. If you consider a business, right, the whole purpose of a business is to do transactions නේ. ව්‍යාපාරයක් තියෙන්නෙම ගනුදෙනු කරන්නනේ. Otherwise it's not a business, no? Right? So there are a hell of a lot of transactions done at a business. And there are certain events that are happening. දැන් ගින්නක් වගේ එකක් ව්‍යාපාරයක ඇති වෙන්න පුළුවන්. ඒක ගනුදෙනුවක් නෙවෙයිනේ. නේද? අපි ගින්නට එන්න කියන්නේ it's something that has happened, right? And there can be a situation and a motor vehicle of a business met with an accident. වාහනයක් හැප්පෙන්න පුළුවන්. That is not a transaction. අපි ගනුදෙනුවක් නෙවෙයි. අපි හිතලා හප්ප ගන්න නෑ, ගාණක් දීලා හප්ප ගන්න නෑ. And it's an event. So that can happen in a business, right? So the input of a business is the transactions and the events. Transactions and the events. Transaction එක දෙපැත්තක් තියෙනවා. ගනු දෙනු. You give and you get, right? Event, you don't have two sides. That is something happening to you, right? So these transactions and the events, ultimately we summarize them into financial statements, into a beautiful set of financial statements. Now, in between there's a process. මේක ඇතුලේ process එකක් තියෙනවා. What is the process? Inside this process, you recognize the items. අඳුර ගන්නවා මොනවද මේ තියෙන්නේ. Then you measure. ඊට පස්සේ බලනවා මේවයි රුපියල් ගාන කීයද කියලා. Then you record. හරි. ඔන්න අපි දැන් මේ ටික අපි record කරනවා. Right? Record, you classify and record. අපි මේක වචන දෙක මාරු කරලා ගමු. එතකොට තමයි ලස්සන. Right? එහෙම දාමුකෝ. Then you classify. Okay. අපි මේක වර්ගීකරණය කරනවා. And then you record. Okay. record කරනවා. record කරපේ ඔයා post කරනවා. මේක අපි මේකට කියන්නේ double entry දානවා කියලා කියන්නේ. You pass double entry. And thereafter what you do is you summarize, you interpret. මේකේ තොරතුරක් උකහා ගන්නවා. Right? Now this is the process you are following, right? these transactions and the events මෙම ගනුදෙනු සහ සිදුවීම්, right? These transactions and the events, first of all you recognize. ඇත්තට මේක වෙලානේ. Then you add a quantification. මේකට රුපියල් සතාගයක් දානවා. දැන් අපි සරල උදාහරණයක් ගමුකෝ. For an example, let's say you have purchased the land. ඔයා ඉඩමක් ගත්තා. First of all you need to recognize that you have purchased the land. ඇත්තටම ඉඩමක් ගත්තද? ඔව් ඉඩමක් කරා. At what value? රුපියල් කීයටද ඉඩම ගත්තේ? Okay, rupees 2 million. හරි. ඉඩමක් ගත්තානේ. Classify ද මේක වෙන් කරන්නකෝ. What is the nature? ඉඩම කියලා කියන්නේ property plant and equipment එකක් නේ. It's a PP නේ. And when you are purchasing the land, there's a cash outflow. සල්ලි එළියට යනවා. You are classifying the transaction. It's a land and it's about cash. And then you record. आप මේක record කරනවානේ. अब මේක cash payment journal එකේ record කරනවා. Then you pass a double entry. ඊට පස්සේ ආ මේකට double entry එකක් දානවා. Land debit කරා, cash credit කරා. Like that you pass a double entry. And you summarize. ඔක්කොම ගත්ත ඉඩම් ටික එකතු කරලා ගන්නවා. අපි ගාව ඔක්කොම ගත්ත ඉඩම් දැන් 10 million විතර තියෙනවා. And you interpret. Okay අපි ගාව ඉඩම් මෙච්චර තියෙනවා. නේ? මේ ඉඩම් වලින් මෙන්න මෙහෙම තමයි අපි මේව කරන්නේ. Ultimately in the financial statement of financial position under property plant and equipment you have 10 million as land. Land එක තියෙනවා PPE කියලා. right? අර මේ සම්පූර්ණ process එකේ ගිහිලා summarize කරලා අපි එක information එකකට අරන් දෙනවා. right? So every business, right? Every business we are doing millions and billions of transactions. අපි නිකන් ගනුදෙනු මාර තෝගයක් කරනවා. Right? That is our input. Transactions and events are the things to show that the business is living. මේ ව්‍යාපාරයේ ජීවත් වෙනවයි කියලා පෙන්වන්නේ ගනුදෙනු හා සිදුවීම් වලින්. So people need to know about what are these transactions and events in a summarized manner. ඒගොල්ලන්ට මේ ව්‍යාපාරයේ වෙලා තියෙන ගනුදෙනු සිදුවීම් ගැන දැනගන්න ඕනේ summarize කරලා. So this whole lot of transactions and events, first of all you recognize. මොකද්ද මේ at what value measurement, then you separate. මෙන්න මෙහෙමයි මෙන්න මේක income එකක් මේක expense එකක් like that. Then you record. ඒක ගැන පොඩි report record එකක් දානවා. Then you post double entry දානවා. Then you summarize the double entry. And then finally you interpret the information and you have produced the financial statements. Right? Think about Cargill's Food City. How many sale transactions are there? කොච්චරනම් විකුණුම් ඇතිද? අවුරුද්දක් ගත්තොත් මිලියන ගානක sales ඇතිනේ. Number of transactions will be like millions no. දවසට ගනුදෙනු වෙනවා ඇතිනේ ළමයි දසදහස් ගානක්. Right? So then recognize එන්න sale එකක් වුණා at what value? ඒක මොකද්ද? sale එකක්. record කරමුද sales journal එකේ. post කරමුද double entry දාමුද debited to cash credited to revenue. summarize කරමුද what is my total revenue? ආයක interpret කරලා අපි කියනවා financial statement වල total revenue of Cargill's 2 billion revenue. Right? So that is the typical process of financial statements. ඒක තමයි අපි මේ accounts වල තියෙන process එක. හරිද? right. okay. ළමයි මේක තේරුණාද? මේ දාලා තියෙන process එක අපි ඉගෙන ගන්න මෙන්න මේ ටික ළමයි. හරිද? ඔයාගේ මේ process එක ඇතුලේ තමයි අපි යන්නේ. එතකොට දැන් අපි physical classes වල එහෙම ඉන්නේ මෙන්න මේ හරිද මේ post කරන හරියෙන් ඇවිල්ලා දැන් අපි මේ summarize කරන හරියටම ඇවිල්ලා තියෙන්නේ දැන්. okay? අපි දැන් මේ ටික ඔක්කොම ඉවර කරගෙන ආවා. හරිද? හරි. okay. අපි මේක දැන් පොඩ්ඩක් මේකම මේ same thing ඔයාලට මේ ඔක්කොම මම ටියුට් වල දීලා තියෙනවා අහගෙන අවබෝධ කරගත්තම මේක ලේසි. දැන් මම ඒක වෙන විදිහකට කියන්නම්. මේක මම හැමදාමත් දාන chart එකක්. The transactions and events. right? These transactions and events are initially captured through the source documents. අපි මුලින්ම ගනුදෙනුවක් හෝ සිදුවීමක් වුණාම ඒක අල්ල ගන්නවා. ඒක වුණා කියලා අපි අල්ල ගන්නවා by issuing a document. We issue a document to prove that this transaction or this event has happened. මෙහෙම එකක් වුණා. වුණා නම් that's a document. In accounting we have a theory, no, not documented not done. Again document එකක් නැහැ කියන්නේ වෙලා නැහැ කියන එක. So in order to say, in order to prove that something has happened, we need to have a document, right? This source document basically covers, right, the recognition, the measurement of the transactions. Like recognize කරනවා, measure කරනවා, part එක. Thereafter, the transactions which are being recorded, which are being recognized by the source documents, are recorded in the prime entry books. අපි ඊට පස්සේ ටික record කරනවා prime entry books කියලා જાතියක. So we get 8 prime entry books. අපි ගාව තියෙනවා prime entry books 8ක්. Right? So we got like 8 different transactions. අපි ගාව තියෙනවා ගනුදෙනු වර්ග 8ක්. සාමාන්‍යයෙන් ඒවා ටික අපි source documents වලින් capture කරනවා and you record them in the prime entry books. In prime entry books what happens is you record the transaction and you do the classification. Record and classify කියන step එක එයා cover කරනවා. You do the recording and the classification. After the prime entry books, you are recording them in the general ledger. ඔයා මේක general ledger එකේ record කරනවා. Right? Now general ledger is what we call the posting. ආයකට අපි කියනවා post කරනවා කියලා. ඒ කියන්නේ මොකද්ද? double entry දානවා. You pass the double entry. Pass the double entry. Post. Pass the double entry. That is the real accounting, huh? Debit and the credit. Thereafter, the general ledger, right? You do the closing part. We prepare a statement called trial balance. Right? Now, trial balance, what this is, it summarizes the financial statements. මේ general ledger එකේ posting වලට අමතරව analyzing සිද්ධ වෙනවා. They analyze as well, nah? Post and analyze. In the trial balance, we summarize that information. And this trial balance, ultimately, you prepare the financial statements. Financial statements, right? So this is your output. This part is your process. And this is your input. This is your input. Okay. So input the transactions and the events. You initially capture them through the source documents. That is where you recognize and measure. Then you record them in the prime entry book and you do the classification. Thereafter, you post them to the general ledger and you can analyze. Then you summarize that information to a trial balance and you prepare the financial statements. You prepare the financial statements. Okay? Right. So look at the process. Are we clear? මේක නම් නිතරම ඔළුවේ වැඩ කරන්න ඕනේ මේ process එක. දැන් අපි ඒකට හැම එකක්ම එකට එකට connect වෙලා තියෙන්නේ. කෙනෙක්ට link වෙලා තියෙන්නේ. Right. ළමයි. ඒ process එක okayද? You will have to. Right. අනික රවින්දු වෙන අයෝමල් are you clear with the process? Any issues, concerns, clarifications? Okay. Right. Okay. Right. The financial accounting process is given to you: inputs, process and output, transaction and events, recognition, measurement, recording, summarizing, interpreting, financial statements. Management accounting, even you have the similar process, same input, process and output are there. I'm not going to give much more focus on that area because anyway we have to learn them in grade 13, right? So similarly, you have the inputs, process and output, right? And you are taking the transactions in events, the historical information, maybe the budgeted information, things that has happened already, and the forecasted information that is going to happen, your forecast. And you do the planning part, follow a process. You do the planning part, controlling, budgeting. And output, you have the management accounting reports, budgeted statements, accounting ratios, project appraisal, marginal costing, right? That different on reports. Keka warge reports තියෙනවා කියලා. එයාලා ගන්නවා past and future information, ඉවරම් planning, budgeting, controlling, different steps they follow and ultimately arrive at different on reports. විවිධ වාර්තා ඒගොල්ලෝ generate කරනවා. මේවා business එක ඇතුලේ වෙන වැඩ. හරිද? Right. Accounting process in detail එකත් අපි කතා කරලා තියෙන්නේ. Okay. So identifying and measuring the transactions through the source documents, recording and classifying books of prime entry, summarizing and analyzing ledger accounts, trial balance, and finally the accounting information is prepared, the financial statements. Okay. This is basically the accounting process in a nutshell. This is your accounting process in a nutshell. Okay. Right. So this part we have discussed about the accounting. Right. අන්න එහෙමනම් accounting process කියන කොටස අපි කතා කරා. මේ ටික මේ කලිනුත් අපි කතා කරලා තියෙනවා. ඒ ගැන වට idea එකක් එන්න ඇති කියලා මම හිතනවා. Right? And with that we'll move on to we have like a few other topics to cover up in this lesson, right? Another part of the area is the accounting environment. The environment means what are the influences we are getting for this accounting process. What we call the environmental factors that are contributing, that are influencing the accounting. Factors. Okay. What are these environmental factors? We'll discuss one by one. Right? Let me straight away move on to the slide. Okay. What are these accounting environmental factors? මොනවද මේ ගිණුම් කරන්නට අදාළ පරිසර සාධක? කියන්නේ ගිණුම් කරන පරිසරයට බලපෑම් මිල වෙන සාධක. ගිණුම් කරන පරිසරයට දායක වෙන සාධක. What are the factors? What are the things that are influencing, impacting the accounting? We'll see one by one, right? Okay, we'll see one: economical and political environment. Now, the country's economy, country's politics, isn't it, impacts accounting? Think about it. Yes, right? Think about the current economic situation of our country. We are facing an inflation, right? So that as a result of the inflation, the cost is increasing, right? Now, in the financial accounting, our salary costs are increasing, our purchase costs are increasing, our utility bills are increasing. Nowadays, electricity bills are higher. So that is impacting my accounting, right? My financial statement figures are changing. I'm getting impacted in my profitability, right? So that the inflation or the price levels are impacting my account, right? If you look at the current context, the interest rates are higher. When the interest rates are higher, the business interest expense is higher. Okay, my interest expenses are also higher. If I have fixed deposit, my fixed deposit income is higher. I am getting good income from the investments. But if I am a loan funded entity, if my loans are higher, my interest cost is higher. When the rates are higher, it's very difficult for me to get new loans. If the interest rates are lower, about 1 year back, 1.5 years back, our interest rates were pretty low. Now I can borrow new loans. Loans rates are impacting the accounting, our transactions and events. Think about the political stability of a country. If we are politically stable, then our economy is also stable. If we are politically unstable, then our cost is fluctuating, the riots are happening, so assets are getting damaged. Political instability our revenue can come down. If the country is politically stable, so we can open up our business for 365 days, right? So those are impacting. And think about the decisions of the political leaders. If you are a business who is importing the let's say a chemical fertilizer, you are a business, you are importing the chemical fertilizer, right? Chemical fertilizer. Then suddenly government decide to ban the chemical fertilizer imports. You are impacted, right? Now how can you generate an income? Because you cannot purchase, you cannot import the chemical fertilizer. Government has banned importing the chemical fertilizers. So you are getting impacted. Okay, right? So the economic situation, the political situation is impacting. Think about the foreign currency rates. Nowadays, our rupee is getting the hard hit, right? Our rupee is depreciating at a rate, right? So that is impacting your businesses. If you are an importer, when the rupee is depreciating, I have to import at a higher cost. My cost is going up. If I'm an exporter, the dollars I'm going to generate will convert me and give a better revenue, better rupee. So as an export, I'm benefited. As an import, I'm impacted, right? So that guys, the economic and the political environment is an important factor. Technical and the professional, technical and the professional environment, right? Technical and the professional environment. We as accountants, we are professionals, right? We as accountants, we are professionals. We have certain ethics, we have certain principles that we maintain, right? Those ethical behavior, ethical guideline is impacting accounting. And for we as accountants, we have professional accounting bodies. We accountants are members of such professional accounting bodies, such as Chartered Institute of Sri Lanka, right? Chartered Institute of Management Accountants, Certified Management Accountants, Chartered Professional Accountants. Like that, there are professional bodies and they are always governing the accountants. And these professional bodies, they have determined the accounting standards. So those accounting standards are used as a guideline to prepare the financial statements, right? So that those technical stuff, the accounting standards, standard setting procedure, the professional bodies, the ethical principles, those are impacting the accounting profession, accounting process. Socio-cultural is about the people. how they behave, their behavior patterns, the lifestyles, the norms, the attitudes of the people, right? Their preferences, their priorities, the culture, that has an impact of accounting. Now, if you think about Japan, now Japan has a culture of thrift. They are very, very, very focused about saving stuff now. They have very, very thrifted culture, right? So that they have huge cost savings. They're always trying to save the cost. They don't want to waste anything. That's their culture. But if you look at we as Sri Lankan, we have a very, very culture of wasting everything. So that is impacted in our accounting, right? And what is the norm, right? We have a certain norms. Now think about your lifestyles. Sometimes we are used to have some, maybe we are pretty much used to have some junk food, maybe like the burgers and pizzas and stuff. So if you are a pizza selling entity, the people's norms, behaviors, life patterns are impacting your revenue, right? Let's say if you go to India, they highly value the Indian products. Indians, they are so loyal to their country, right? Vande Mataram gaagene inne, right? So that's Indian people, they are fond of buying their local products. ඒගොල්ලෝ මොනවා තිබුණත් ඔය ambassador car එකක් පැදගෙන they want to have the local products, right? So that if you're a local manufacturer, the people's preferences, the culture is having that particular aspect. So those are impacting. Okay. Then the legal environment. Now accounting is impacted by the law. There are a lot of laws and regulations and case studies, the case laws, which are impacting the accounting, right? Now for an example, we have an act called Accounting and Auditing Standards Act number 15 of 1995. Sri Lanka Accounting and Auditing Standards Act number 15 of 1995. So based on that act, the Companies Act number 7 of 2007. Companies Act number 7 of 2007 says preparing the financial statement of a company is a must. Again, accounting must කියලා කියනවා. Section එක, if I'm not mistaken, section number 166 and 167. Companies Act එකේ වගන්ති අංක 166 167 කියනවා මූල්‍ය ප්‍රකාශ හදන එක අනිවාර්යයි කියලා. Right? So that is given in the Companies Act. And for partnerships, we have act, no, right? We have an act. We have these partnership ordinance. Partnership වලට තියෙනවා අපිට partnership ordinance එකක්, right? හවුල් ව්‍යාපාර ආඥාපනයක් තියෙනවා. 1940 හවුල් ව්‍යාපාර ආඥාපනත. right? ඒ කියන්නේ බ්‍රිටිෂ්ලා එන්න කලින් දා Ghana versus Murray. Ghana රෙදිරියෝ Murray කියලා case law එකක් තියෙනවා. Case law එකේ කියනවා හවුල්කාරයෙක් මරනොත් එහෙම අනික හවුල්කාරයන්ට කොහොමද වගකීම් බෙදෙන්නේ කියලා. So that is how we account. Still we are using Ghana versus Murray, the case law. In අඩු තීන්දුව අපි පාවිච්චි කරනවා accounts කරනකොට. Right? So like that the legal aspect is also there, which is impacting. Technological aspect. Now guys, everything is changing with the technology, right? We don't use this the books to do the books, the hard copy books as the ledgers, and we don't put the double entry in using a pen, this account debit, this account credit. Everything it's computerized now. We are using the computerized accounting packages. We are using enterprise resource planning solutions, and we have artificial intelligence. We are using the digitalization. So a lot of things digitalize. So accounting maybe is included into your mobile phone now. So once the transaction has happened, you can go to the mobile phone and you can record it. And it's the entire accounting process is happening. At your fingertips, you can get the financial statement. You can download it. Now, because of the technology, our accounting has developed in a much more convenient manner, right? So like that, the environment have a lot of impacts. Like I told you, the tax policy of a business, tax policy of the government, right? So that will, based on the tax policy, the tax expense will depend on, right? The price levels, government policies on wages. Now, Sri Lankan government has a policy on the minimum wage. So that is something you have to pay, right? So your minimum wage, we have a law, right? Per person, it's something like 16,000 rupees. That minimum wage you have to pay, right? Then technical and professional accounting standards, right? Professional accounting bodies like the Chartered Institute of Sri Lanka, right? Chartered Institute of Sri Lanka, and the techniques in accounting, socio-cultural, your attitudes, the norms, beliefs, life patterns, legal, accounting and auditing standards act, companies act, right? And Inland Revenue Act, 1890 partnership ordinance, right? 1890 partnership ordinance. මේකෙම තියෙනවා තව 1840 වංචා වැළැක්වීමේ පනත කියලා. Lot of stuff are there. Technological, the digitalization, use of artificial intelligence, computerized accounting, communication technology. So like that, these environmental factors have an influence over the accounting. ගිණුම්කරණය කියන එක නිකන් මට කාගෙන්වත් බලපෑමක් නැහැ මම තනියම තමයි යන්නේ. එහෙම නැහැ. It has an impact. එයාට මේ බාහිර මේ සාර්ව පරිසර සාධක වලින් බලපෑම් එළ වෙනවා. Accordingly you adapt. ඒවට අනුව යා වෙනස් වෙනවා. accounting කියන එක කෙනත් වෙනස් වෙනවා. Right? Okay. Changes in environmental factors and impact on accounting. මේ ටික මම ටිකක් කතා කරා ළමයි. Interest rate වල impact එක මොකක්ද? Accounting standards. Now for an example, under technical and professional, accounting standards are there. For us to account for property, plant and equipment, we have an accounting standard called LKS 16. Sri Lanka Accounting Standard 16 කියලා අපිට දීලා තියෙන අපේ guideline එක. Partnership law. එතකොට ඒකට අදාළව තියෙනවා කොහොමද effect එක කියලා. Personal lifestyle. ආර්කිය local products එහෙම use of modern technology. Then for an example මම මේක කියලා දෙන්නම් මේ ඔය gold pawning businesses කරන අය බයි දැන් අපිට gold ටික measure කරන්න එපා gold ටික වාගේ inventory එකක් බවට පත් වෙන ඒවා තියෙනවනේ. එතකොට ඒවා measure කරන්න අපි use කරනවා densimeter කියලා. Right, using the densimeter you measure the value of the gold. කියන්නේ gold වල බර එයා ගානට මැනලා කියනවා. ඒකට අපි දැනට carat එකක් යන ගානට අනුව measure කරන්න පුළුවන්. So you are using the technology. Otherwise you can't measure it properly. Okay? Right. Okay. හරි. ළමයි. ඒ accounting environment කියන එක වාට තේරුණාද? ඒකේ කොහොමද தත්ත්වය? වයින් ප්‍රශ්න කියලා එහෙමට මැහෙන්නේ නැහැ. නිකන් මේක නිකන් ඇහිලා තේරෙනවා නම් ඒ ටික වාට ප්‍රමාණවත්. ඒ ටික ඕකේද? කොහොමද தත්ත්වය?
ඔව් සර්.
Right. Okay. Super. Okay, guys. I know I'm not going to put much of a stress on the uses of accounting. ගිණුම්කරණයේ තියෙන භාවිතයන් ගැන this we already know. ඒක අතන අපි දැනටම දන්නවා. හරිද? Right? So if you look at the uses of accounting, right? Uses of accounting. We know that accounting can be used by the stakeholders for them to take decisions on resource provision. Resources දෙන එක ගැන තීරණ ගන්න stakeholders ලා accounting පාවිච්චි කරනවා. So management can take decision on resource utilization. ඒව පාවිච්චි කරන එක ගැන තීරණ ගන්න management එකට accounting පාවිච්චි කරන්න පුළුවන්. Right? The government can take decisions on tax policy, subsidies, right? And because of accounting, we can take better decisions. අපිට වඩා නිවැරදි තීරණ ගන්න පුළුවන්. Right? So ඒ වගේ ළමයි users කීපයක් තියෙනවත් මතක තියාගන්න අවශ්‍ය නැහැ. මේවා අපි දැනටම දන්නවා. හරි? Enabling logical decisions. Because of accounting, we can take logical decisions for the interested parties on scarce resources. හිඟ සම්පත් කොහොමද අපි use කරන්න කියන එක ගැන බලන්න. Helps better utilization of resources. ඒ කියන්නේ තියෙන සම්පත් හොඳට utilize කරන්නේ කොහොමද? Helps to take strategic decisions. කියන්නේ business එක grow කරන්න management එකට. අපි කොහොමද business එක grow කරන්නේ? එතකොට එයාට accounting බලලා තීරණ ගන්න. බදු ගැන තීරණයක් ගන්න රජයට accounting පාවිච්චි කරන්න. Helps planning and controlling operations of a business. Business එකේ අපි දැන් මේ operation එක employee card එක plan කරන එක කොච්චරක් part time කරනවද කොච්චරක් fixed employees ලා ගන්නවද ගිය මාසේ මගේ labor cost එක කොච්චරද මගේ material cost එක කොච්චරද එහෙනම් මගේ raw material purchase plan එක මගේ warehouse plan එක like that you have to take decisions no so you can use accounting. Government can look at the tax revenue කොහොමද මේ tax revenue එක ආවේ right මොන businesses වලින්ද and you can refer those accounting. You can look at what are these high performing businesses වැඩිපුර profit කරන business මොනවද you charge a high tax on them right you can decide the tax policy and people do take some strategic decisions you know like now Haley's couple of years back acquired Singer. Haley's එක බැලුවා Singer එක දිහා Singer එක හොඳට නැගලා යනවා වගේ අල්ලන්න ඕනේ කියලා ගිහිල්ලා acquire කරා. Singer එක acquire කරා. Now Singer is coming under Haley's 11 billion transaction. රුපියල් බිලියන 11ක් ගෙවලා ගත්ත Singer එක. Now how do you decide to pay 11 billion right Singer එකට බිලියන 11ක් ගෙවන්න ඕනේ කියලා decide කරන්න base වෙන්නේ මොකද්ද Singer's performance නේ කොහොමද Singer ගේ performance එක measure කරන්නේ using the financial statements right so that you are using the financial statements on lot of things particularly මේ ඔක්කොම ටික අපි එකක් කරොත් එහෙම it's about decision making මේ ඔක්කොගේම කතා කරන්නේ අපි ඉස්සෙල්ලා ඉඳලම කතා කරපු තීරණ ගැනීම ගැන හරිද තමයි always remember life is always about decision making ජීවිතය කියලා කියන්නේ හැම වෙලාවකම තීරණ ගැනීම right and every decision has a good side and a bad side හැම තීරණයකම හොඳ සහ නරක දෙකම තියෙනවා right so what we need to look at is which decision has the highest merits right every decision has merits and demerits we have to look at the decision with the highest merits right because you have very scarce resources ඔයාලට තියෙන්නේ හරියම සීමිත සම්පත් ප්‍රමාණයක් ඒතකොට සීමිත සම්පත ඔයාලට වැඩිම benefit එකක් දෙන තීරණයට දාන්න ඕනේ otherwise you have an opportunity cost එහෙම නැත්නම් වාගේ opportunity cost එක වැඩි right so for you to decide which decision has more merits you need information and that information if it is a financial decision you need financial information is provided through financial statements okay right okay right okay right so with that we are moving towards the final topic and our lesson number 1 එතකොට අපිට ඉතුරුලා තියෙන බොහොම සීමිත කාලයක්. එතකොට මේ කාලය තුලත් අපි යන්න උත්සාහ කරනවා අපේ මේ පළවෙනිම පාඩමේ වාගේ accounting කියන advanced level accounting first lesson එකේ පළවෙනිම පාඩමේ අන්තිමම area එක අන්තිම topic එක. right that is the limitations of accounting. දැන් අපි ගොඩාක් දේවල් කතා කරානේ. accounting කියන්නේ මොකක්ද? එතකොට accounting වල objective එක මොකක්ද? accounting entity එකක් කියන්නේ මොකක්ද? එතකොට accounting process එක කියන්නේ මොකක්ද? stakeholders ලා කියන්නේ කවුද? මේ accounting වල තියෙන මේ classifications මොනවාද? right? ඊට පස්සේ accounting වල තියෙන users මොනවාද? accounting වලට impact වෙන environmental factors මොනවාද? It's like that. So we have discussed every bit of it. ගිණුම් කරන්නේ යනු විදිහට like that lot of things. Now finally we need to know about the limitations of accounting. හරි ඔච්චර මේ මාර ලොකුයි මාර හොඳයි කියන accounting වල අඩුපාඩු ඇත්තෙම නැද්ද? අඩුපාඩු තියෙනවා. right? So we have certain limitations. right? So we look at what are these limitations in accounting. Okay, that is our final topic under the first lesson. Right? We'll look at. So under the final topic of limitations in accounting. One of the major limitation is accounting is focusing on historical information, historical cost. We are looking at historical cost that does not reflect the current value. ඒ කියන්නේ මොකද්ද? හරි accounting වල තියෙන අතීත තොරතුරුලු. හරි ඉතින් දැන් අතීත තොරතුරු වලට ගත්තාම අද වටිනාකම පෙන්වන්නේ නෑලු. ඔව් දැන් ඒකෙන් මොකද්ද වෙන්නේ? හරි මම මෙහෙම කියන්නම්. Let's say you have a family company. අපි තුමාලගේ තියෙනවා family company එකක්. 100 years back අවුරුදු 100කට කලින්. හරිද? You have a family company guys. Right? 100 years back අවුරුදු 100කට කලින් ඔයාගේ මුත්තා හරිද? ඔයාගේ අත්තා හරි මුත්තා හරි කවුරු හරි right? He purchased a 100-acre land. අක්කර 100ක 100-acre land එකක් ගත්තා ඔයාගේ අත්තා ඔයාගේ සීයා අක්කර 100ක land එකක් ගත්තා at a value of 1000 rupees. අක්කර 100ක ඉඩමක් ගත්තා කොළඹ හතෙන් රුපියල් 1000ට අවුරුදු 100කට කලින්. ඔයාගේ සීයා අවුරුදු 100කට කලින් අක්කර 100ක් ගත්තා right at a value of 1000 rupees. At a value of 1000 rupees, let's say for an example. Now 100 years back අවුරුදු 100ක් ගිහිල්ලා right now this particular land has a rupee value of let's say 10 billion. දැන් මේ අක්කර 100 අද වටිනවා බිලියන 10ක්. That 100-acre property has a value, has a market value of 100 billion, right? Sorry, 10 billion rupees. Billion 10ක් වටිනවා. But in your financial statements, if you are applying the historical cost, ඔයා මේක මේ historical cost එකට නම් තියාගෙන යන්න. හරිද? එහෙම principle එකක් තියෙනවා. You have to keep the acquired things at the historical cost. අපිට මෙහෙම තමයි තියාගෙන යන්නේ කියලා. In your financial statements, the PPE, you will have a land at 1000 rupees. ඔයාගේ පෙන්නනවා ඉඩමක් රුපියල් 1000කට. But really speaking, the current value is much more higher. අද වටිනාකම බිලියන 10යි. හැබැයි ඔයාගේ accounts වල පෙන්නන්නේ රුපියල් 1000. Will it impact the decision makers? Yes, definitely. ඔයාට ඕනේ අලුතෙන් ජපනීස් වල ඉන්වෙස්ටර් කෙනෙක්ට ආරාධනා කරන්න බිස්නස් එකකට ඉන්වෙස්ට් කරන්න. You send account set. ඔයා ජපාන් වල ඉන්න ඉන්වෙස්ටර්ට යවනවා account set එකක්. right? කොහොමද? මෙන්න අපේ බිස්නස් එක ටිප් টොප් එකට යනවා. Why don't you invest? එයා බල්ලා කියනවා මේ රුපියල් 1000ක ලෑන්ඩ් යන්න තියෙන්නේ. Why should I invest? ඔයා බැංකුවට දෙනවා ණයක් ගන්න. right? You are giving the financial statements to the bank to borrow a loan. බැංකුව බලනවා ඉඩමක් තියෙනවා රුපියල් 1000ක. right? So it will be very difficult to take decisions, right? Investor කෙනෙක්ට එන්න බැංකුවකින් ණයක් ගන්න it's difficult, right? Because you are keeping the historical cost and that historical cost does not reflect the current value. යතීත පිරිවැය වර්තමාන වටිනාකමක් නිරූපණය නොකරයි. No, the prices are always changing, right? මිල ගණන් වෙනස් වෙනවා. Right? So that is an issue in accounting. ඓතිහාසික පිරිවැය තුළින් වර්තමාන වටිනාකම නිරූපණය නොවීම ගිණුම් කරණය තුළ අපිට තියෙන අඩුපාඩුව. Right. We'll look at another limitation. Our limitation එකක් බලමු. Not all assets are recorded. Not all assets are recorded like human resources. Hari. Then if you consider a business, right? Business, right? There are people involved in that business. And there are very good, talented, qualified people and who are bringing revenue to the business. සමහර ව්‍යාපාරවල ඉන්නවා business එකට හරිම loyal සේවකයෝ. If you think about a hotel එකක් ගැන හිතන්න. hotel එකේ කෑම ටික දුවන්නේ chef ගේ quality එක මතනේ. right? chef ගේ කෑම හොයාගෙන ඉන්න මිනිස්සු ඉන්නවා. මේ අර hotel එකේ කෑම මාර රහයිය. chef ගේ කෑම සුපිරි. යන්න එකට. So chef is the guy who is generating revenue. ඒ chef ගේ quality එකට තමයි මිනිස්සු එන්නේ. සමහර chef මාරු වුණොත් එහෙම මිනිස්සු ඒ hotel එක නැතුව chef ඉන්න hotel එක හොයාගෙන යන අවස්ථාවක් තියෙනවා. Think about a consultancy business. Consultancy business. You are generating revenue because of the consultants. Consultant ge talent එකට නේ ළමයි business එක සල්ලි generate කරන්නේ. So like that, every business, there are human resources who are very qualified, who are loyal and who are competent, who are talented, who can do the multitasking and everything. But thing is, in accounting, we don't account for human resources. Accounting වලදී අපි මානව සම්පත ගෙනුම් තියන්නේ නැත. We don't account for human resources. Right? Accounting වල limitation එක. Accounting වල කියනවා if you were to recognize an asset, you need to have a control. වත්කමක් හඳුනා ගන්න නම් පාලනය කරන්න පුළුවන් වෙන්න ඕනේ. Ideally you can't control human beings no. මිනිසුන් අපිට පාලනය කරන්න බෑනේ. Right? If they want to live, they will live. ඒටි යන්න ඕන යනවා. So you can't control. So that because of that, we don't account for human resources. But frankly speaking, human resource is definitely a valuable resource to a business නේ. ඇත්තටම කියනවනම් business එකට වටිනා සම්පතක් නේ. ඒ සම්පත අපේ මූල්‍ය වාර්තා තුල නැහැ කියන්නේ there's an issue no. Human resources an important resource to a business and we don't account for it. Right now, that is an issue. Right? That is a limitation in accounting. Okay? Right? We are not accounting for the human resources. Right? We'll take another one. Not all assets are recorded. Information. Right? Information. Now, guys, if you look at right now, all the businesses which are technological businesses, which are the like the social media platforms like the Facebook and WhatsApp and even the Google, right? If you look at a lot of these internet businesses, lot of these technological businesses are generating revenue based on information. Facebook is a free service. WhatsApp is a free service. Google is a free service. How come they have become companies which are earning billions of dollars? Because they are selling information. They always track our personal patterns. They always look at the behavior of the people. මෙයා කැමති මොනවටද? මෙයා වැඩිපුර search කරන්නේ මොකද්ද? මෙයා වැඩිපුර share කරන්නේ මොකද්ද? මෙයා කන්න ආස කෑම මොකද්ද? මෙයා යන්න කැමති කොහෙද? මෙයා බොන්න කැමති බීම මොනවද? Right? They always track our personal behavior using their machine learning techniques and algorithms. And using that information, they create a commercial value and they sell that to registered suppliers. ඒගොල්ලෝ ඔයාලගේ suppliers වලට sell කරනවා. Advertisement දාලා sponsor කරවලා අපිට දේවල් පේන්න සලස්වනවා. And they earn millions of rupees, millions of dollars, billions of dollars. So most of the companies, information is their key source of revenue. බොහෝ ව්‍යාපාර ආයතන වලට තොරතුරු කියන එක ආදායම උත්පාදනය කරන ප්‍රධාන මාර්ගය බවට පත් වෙලා තියෙනවා. Right? Most of the businesses, they are generating income, they are generating revenue through the information. ඒකල තොරතුරු හරහා තමයි ආදායම උත්පාදනය කරන්නේ. But still we don't have a mechanism to account for information. ඒත් අදටත් තොරතුරු ගිණුම්ගත කරන්න, තොරතුරු කියන වත්කම ගිණුම්ගත කරන්න අපිට ක්‍රමවේදයක් නැහැ. We don't account for information. තොරතුරු කියලා asset එකක් අපි recognize කරන්නේ නැහැ. We don't account for information. So in that context, see, information being that important assets, but still we are not recognizing. තාමත් අපි recognize කරන්නේ නැහැ. වාම කල්පනා කරලා බලන්න ඔයාගේ තොරතුරු කොච්චරනම් use වෙනවද? Right? ඒ තොරතුරු ඔයාගේ behavior එක නේ ඔයාගේ click stream data ඔයා ගිහලා click කරනකොට එයාලා capture කරන data ඔයාගේ search history එක lot of things ඔයා delete කරාට Google මතක තියාගෙන ඉන්න right ඒ හැම දෙයක්ම ඒ information ටික එයාලා use කරනවා හැබැයි information එයාගේ asset එකක් නෙවෙයි because in accounting we can't recognize assets such as information right and another one estimates are subject to biasness. In accounting, guys, we have to make a lot of estimates. අපිට ඔය ගිණුම් කරනේදී ගොඩාක් estimates කරන්න තියෙනවානේ. For an example, we have to determine the life of an asset. වත්කමක ජීව කාලය අපිට තීරණය කරන්න වෙනවා. For an example, let's say a motor vehicle. We think the motor vehicle has a useful life of 5 years. motor vehicle එක ජීව කාලය අවුරුදු 5ක් තියෙනවා කියලා අපි හිතනවා. But is it really 5 years? අවුරුදු 5ට පස්සේ motor vehicle එක කැඩිලා සුන්නත් දූලි වෙලා යනවා. No, right? We estimate the useful life to be 5 years. And estimates are made based on the subjective judgments of the management. එතකොට මේ estimates decide කරන්නේ management එක. And those are subjective. මට හිතනොත් එහෙම motor vehicle එක 5යි කියලා 5යි. මට ආයෙ හිතෙන්න පුළුවන් නෑ 7ක් වගේ කියලා. එහෙනම් 7යි. ඔන්න ඔය 10ක්ද දන්නෙත් නෑ. So those are subjective, right? මට හිතෙනවා 5යි, තව කෙනෙක් කියලා කියනවා 7යි, තව කෙනෙක් කියනවා 10යි. It can change. So the estimates are subject to biasness. කෙනෙක්ට favorizations තියෙන්න පුළුවන්. ඒක අපිට challenge කරන්නත් හරි අමාරුයි. right? දැන් උදාහරණයක් විදියට warranty. අපි item එකක් sell කරාම warranty period එකක් දෙනවනේ. customer අපිට warranty claims වලට කොච්චරක් එනවද? right? We have to make a provision based on an estimate. ඒක අපිට හිතා ගන්න බෑනේ. අපි නිකන් judgmentally හිතනවා මෙච්චරක් විතර කියලා. right? And which is subject to biasness. ඒක නිකන් අපිට එහෙම කරන්න පුළුවන්. right? And the final factor, right? මම දැන් accounting වල limitations කීපයක් වඩ කතා කරගෙන ආවා. I hope you can remember, right? Historical cost does not reflect the current value, right? And human resources, we don't account for it. We don't account for information, and estimates are subject to biasness. And the final factor, right? Now, the final factor is in accounting, we ignore the ecological and the social factors. ඇත්තටම අපි accounting වලදී අපි මේ පරිසරය ගැන මිනිස්සුන්ගේ තියෙන මේ ගුණ ධර්ම ගැන, right? We don't care about what is happening to the environment. We don't care about the good qualities, good attitudes of the people, no, right? We just account the profit and the losses and the assets and liabilities, right? But even though the company is making profit, they may be damaging the ecosystem. Even though the company is making profits, they may be creating problems at the families. For an example, a tobacco company making thundering profits, but because of the tobacco, there are many people who are suffering cancer. There are people who are suffering because of the fights between the parents, the mother and the father. The father is coming drunk and then fighting, and lot of social issues. But we don't recognize, we don't provide that information in our accounting report. We just say we are profitable. There are companies, who are making massive profits but damaging our ecosystem, our environment. A polythene manufacturing company, super profit, but it will take 100 years to, right? It will take 100 years for you to, that polythene to, dissolve and whatever the things into the environment. It takes 100 years. So you are making a damage of 100 years, right? And sometimes, for an example, like companies like British Petroleum. British Petroleum is making huge profit, but there was a leakage in the petroleum and entirely, right, many parts of the sea and the sea animals got affected. Impact. But do we really give that information to the stakeholders? We provide the financial part. We are making profits. That's it. What has happened to the environment? What has happened to the people? That we don't provide. So therefore, that is a limitation in accounting, that we are not providing that impacts to the ecosystems and the society at large. That is why nowadays we have this integrated reporting. Then accounting wala ilanga steps වලට ඇවිල්ලා තියෙන්නේ අපි sustainability reporting ගියා. Now we are at integrated reporting. The financial aspect එකට අමතරව අපි social ecological aspect එක අපි කතා කරනවා දැන්. So there's a development. But if you take financial accounting alone, the profit part is only covered. The people and the planet. People and the planet is not covered. Only the profit. Integrated reporting ඇවිල්ලා 3 P's. People, planet and profit. තුනම cover කරන reports ගෙනල්ලා තියෙනවා. Right, you're going to learn them, may not be under advanced level, maybe in some other exams. Okay, right? So that basically puts end to our discussion on the first topic. Okay, right. Okay, any concerns, clarifications? Are you all okay? මේ ටික තේරුණාද ළමයි කොහොමද තත්වය පළවෙනි පාඩම
Oh, sir.
right okay right super right දැන් මේක මේ YouTube live එකකුත් දාලා තියෙන්නේ. එතකොට JMC YouTube channel එකට මම not all the lessons හැම එකම දාන්නේ right මේ couple of lessons I led. එතකොට පළවෙනි lesson එක ගිය සතිය part එකක් දාන්නම්. එතකොට මේ සතිය part එකක් තියෙනවා. Right, you all can watch the video again and again based on your requirement. So 2 videos to cover the first lesson. එතකොට පළවෙනි lesson එක මේ videos දෙකෙන් cover වෙනවා. Second lesson එකේ tute එක ඔයාලට WhatsApp group එකට දැම්මා. හරිද? ඒකේ print එකක් අරගෙන ඔයගොල්ලෝ class එකට එනවා නම් කුමාරට දීලා print එකක් අරගන්න. කුමාරගෙන් ඉල්ල ගන්න. එතකොට අපිට පුළුවන් දැන් සතිවල second lesson එක කරන්න. Right. Rosiru, okay නේද එහෙනම්? All good?
අවුලන්නේස්.
Right. Okay. Okay. I hope Ayomal, you even good. Right. So what we'll do is we'll meet up next week to discuss the second lesson. Right. Okay. See you guys. Right. We'll meet up next Sunday. See you.
Thank
Okay.
you, sir.
Welcome.